Hey y'all, it's Crystal here from Christico Design. Today we are learning how to make the Lena dishcloth, and this dishcloth pattern comes in 4 sizes: 6 inch, 8 inch, 10 inch, and 12 inch. We're using 5mm US size 8 knitting needles, and you'll want to use a number 4 medium worsted weight yarn. Here I'm using Red Heart with Love Better Half, which is a 50-50 blend of cotton and acrylic. Often I use 100% cotton for these dish towels and washcloths and whatnot. We'll start off with our cast on, and I am a huge fan of the crochet hook cast on, but I am a crocheter, so I have a full set of crochet hooks to use. If you do not, you can use any cast on method for this pattern. I'll link up the full tutorial for the crochet hook cast on in the description, and I'll also be showing the long tail cast on. With the crochet hook cast on, you cast on one less than you need and then slip that last loop onto your needle from the hook to finish it up. Now for the long tail cast on, we will measure out our long tail here. I have probably 18 to 20 inches for this small 26 cast on size. You just really need to know how much yarn each stitch uses and do the math for those. And there's lots of ways to estimate that. This is my setup here: working yarn to the back, yarn tail to the front. I'll do that again. Reset, scoop through the thumb, scoop through the finger, pull it through. And you keep repeating that for the number you need to cast on. I'll link up a full tutorial for long tail as well. I'm going to cast on 26 for the 6 inch dishcloth size. For 8 inch, cast on 35. For 10 inch, cast on 44. And for 12 inch, cast on 53. Okay, once you have your stitches cast on, we'll come back together for our first 6 rows, which is our little border edge of knitting all. For row 1, we are going to knit every stitch, and then we're going to turn and repeat that for rows 2 through 6. Here I'm at the end of row 1, so I'll turn my work, and for rows 2 through 6, I am going to just repeat that, knitting each and every stitch. Okay, next up for rows 7 and 8, we'll work our stitch pattern. So here I am on row 7, and I will knit the first 4. This is actually my edge. I'm always going to knit the first 4 and the last 4. So if you would like to use a stitch marker here to help you remember that, you can. Now the repeat. We'll start with knit 2, purl 2, knit 1, purl 2, and knit 2. Then you're going to repeat that entire sequence across. It's a little bit long, but on the next row you'll see we're going to knit the knits and purl the purls. So we're repeating across: knit 2, purl 2, knit 1, purl 2, knit 2, until those last 4 stitches. When we get to the last 4 stitches, then we're just going to knit those 4. For on either end will always be knits. You can use the stitch markers or you can just count. For row 8, we'll start with our knit 4. And now we're going to do the opposite of what we just did. So we started with a knit 2 on row 7, so now we're going to purl 2, and we'll be looking at 2 purls as well. Then we'll knit 2, and you see we have 2 knits here. And then we'll purl 1, knit 2, purl 2. And then we'll repeat that sequence again. You'll repeat it across until you have 4 stitches left. Then we knit the last 4 stitches. So again, from here on out, excluding the first 4 and last 4, we are going to knit a knit and purl a purl. So we'll start with our row 7 repeat, knit the first 4. And then now I'm looking at knits, so I'm going to knit the first 2, purl the next 2, knit 1, purl 2, knit 2, and repeat across until the last 4 stitches. Knit the last 4 stitches. And now we're ready to turn our work and do a row 8 repeat. Knit the first 4. And then we have 2 purls, so we're purling the first 2. Then I'm looking at knits, so I knit the next 2, purl 1, knit 2, purl 2, and repeat that across until you have the last 4 stitches of the row. And then we knit the last 4 stitches. Okay, so now we're going to repeat those 2 rows, rows 7 and 8, for either 5, 7, 9, or 15 inches, or about 1 inch less than your desired length. To end this pattern, we're going to add about 1 inch of the knit all rows that we did start with. So once your pattern is to length, once your dishcloth is as long as you want it, minus 1 inch, you're going to knit for the last 6 rows, just like we did to start. So here I'm just working up the little 6-inch square dishcloth. So I have about 5 inches in length. So now I'm ready just to knit all. You can get rid of your stitch markers now because we are not working the stitch pattern. And now we're repeating knit all until we have knit 6 rows. And then we'll come back together to bind off. Okay, once you have knit 6 rows, it's time to bind off. And here I'm just going to use a regular bind off. So I'll knit the first 2 and then use my left needle to pull the first stitch over the second, which binds it off. Pull that stitch up a little bit on my right needle to make sure it's not too tight. And then repeat that. And when you get to that last stitch to bind off, you just pull up a long loop and cut your yarn, and then it's time to weave in your ends.